back to the third episode of Host Marriage. I hope you will love it. Jungkook got a call from his father late at night. Taehyung and I are heading home tomorrow at 11 a.m. and you will be married the day after at the courthouse. I hope that you have everything ready for our arrival. We would appreciate it if you were at the airport to pick up us with your mother. That was all his father said before he hung up, while with leaving Cook to say anything. Luckily, Jungkook was already home, so he could drown his sorrow in glasses of expensive scotch. Why him? Cook questioned this terrible fate he seems to have found himself in. He has had girlfriends in past, all of which were insignificant. He wasn't really into dating. In reality, he just hasn't found the one and he has given up on trying now. He will never have a chance to find his love if he wanted to again. He wants someone to love, but this random boy is ruining it all. Jungkook vowed in his drunken mind to never fall in love with this boy. It, it currently would not be a hard task. The next morning, Jungkook had hangover for sure. His head pounded and his stomach stoned. He was still wearing half of his suit from yesterday. That just reminded him that he still had to go to work today. Jungkook goes internally, looked through groggy eyes and sees that it is around 6:30. Cook's body was so used to waking up at the same time for 3 years that even his recovering body wake up at that time. He stumbled out of bed onto the shower right away. The scotch split a little on him. The shower helped the head a little bit, but all over his body he still felt like sick. In the kitchen, Jungkook took some pain reliefs and started to breakfast. Cook breakfast. He never had a cook with him because he was so independent. He enjoyed the cooking, even doing his own laundry. He likes the control he had over the little elements in his life when he felt that he had none. He only had a general maid came once in a week to sweep and clean the main area. Jungkook hated dusting and sweeping. He would gladly pay any sum of money for that. He cooked himself his usual hangover meal. Lately, it seems like his only breakfast. A breakfast began with fatty bacon, an over-easy egg, avocado with a banana. He isn't sure if it really helps with anything, but it does make him feel better. It was more like comfort food. At the table, he scrolled through his phone, checking the news. Social, he has just anything that doesn't have to do with this boy he has married tomorrow. God, tomorrow. Jungkook knows that there is nothing that he could do at this point. Hopefully, there is a point that he could divorce the boy. He walked back to his bathroom to finish getting ready, style his hair, brush his teeth, put on his golf rings and suit, and gather his materials for work. Prompt at 7:20, Cook gets in his car and drives to his building for 7:30. He loved living close to his workplace. It added less stress to a day that is already stress-prone. He was also one of the first people in the building. The front receptionist has the responsibility of opening the main gate, and she sat scrolling on her phone before the day began. Jungkook didn't care too much. He always came early, and the work day doesn't begin until 9. Jungkook, of course, the workday doesn't begin until 9. Jungkook, of course, worked extra around this time. Custodians and cafeteria staff came around to prep for the incoming employees. Jungkook takes the elevator to his floor where it was nice and quiet. He plops down at his big dark desk, turns on his computer monitor and gets to work. Throughout the whole day, he was more distracted than normal. He would constantly look at his phone, almost checking for messages from his father. When he put his phone in a place for his body, he would actually get up from his desk and get another cup of coffee or a glass of water. Jungkook barely get enough work done. He was thankful that he had another week to finish his work and also prepare for a major meeting. He couldn't for his life of him stop moving and freezing. He was just distracted and not focused. He was like this a majority of time, but today it was amplified up to 100. It was definitely due to the delivery of his non-order bride coming in today and with his father. Jungkook thought about every single scenario over and over and over again until it was past their landing time. A small part of him actually wanted to go to the airport. While he couldn't admit it to himself, he thought that the boy doesn't deserve to get married to a random person like him, especially him. However, Jungkook covered those thoughts with awful thoughts about the boy. He got in his car at 6 and the usual end he at to his work week an hour later than what everyone else since he was exhausted from thinking and overthinking. He wanted to go home to just relax, but the boy would be there and the majority of the family wanting to meet him promptly at 6:10 p.m. Jungkook arrived at his apartment complex, his home. Opening the door with his key, he hears some laughter coming from the dining room. He lets out a sigh, drops his extra at the door, and walks to the dining room to meet Faith. Kim Taehyung sat in his empty room today. He would be moving out. This is his last day at his home, the last day in this house of heck. He wishes that he would miss the place, but his mother ruined all the good memories he created once she left. The memories only got worse once the hurt started. Other than that, the marriage, Thay was excited to move to the New York. He wanted to live there as long as he can. Remember, he loved the busy street, beautiful architecture, and snow. Thay was more than excited for snow. It was also just a marriage. It's not like he will be forced into get physical. At least he hoped. He was also excited for a new family. Mr. Jeon was extremely kind and he hopes that everyone else is the same. A majority of his things are on a moving van going out to New York. However, some clothes and important necessities are with him in a suitcase and carry-on. Mrs. Lee also packed up very fast as he lived in the house and never had many possessions. They cooked once last meal at the house for Mr. Jian and himself, and it wasn't the traditional breakfast food. It was a creamy mac and cheesy and his favorite. Last time in the house, and he wanted to create some good memories for the young boy. It was good time. He was actually laughing with Mr. Jian as he told funny stories about his to be soon to be son-in-law. On one story being how he asked out the love of his life in second grade, which prompted Mr. Jian to sneeze and then reject him. A few days later, Mr. Jian got the flu and was sick for many days. They found how hopeless, romantic Jungkook was as a child. A small part of him wishes that he could act the same when they arrives. However, life has taught him not to hold on to wishes seriously. Soon they all pile onto a car and drive together to the Seoul airport to leave. Then he will be in New York, the city that never sleeps. The flight to New York is smoothly. He actually hasn't been on an airplane in years, but he wasn't nervous about that. Thinking about his new husband worried him more. Taking up all those space in his mind, stepping out into the New York airport gave the a complete new vibe, a great one. Everyone seems like they are very in rush. Businessmen talking on the phone and businesswomen casually drinking at the bar. The sun wasn't completely shining. The clouds were covering most of the sky that couldn't even trace Taehyung's mood at the moment. They walk away from the terminal and to a woman waiting with a bunch of other people. She was middle height. It was hard to tell that with the dark brown hair cut into a stylish curl bob. Her brown eyes were also stunning and could be seen through from afar. She smiled once she laid her eyes on Thay and Mr. Jian and started waving. Thay knew once Mr. Jian waved back that this was his wife, Mrs. Jian. Mrs. Jian was waving happily at the three of them, more like she was waving at him. Mrs. Jian was excited to meet the new mysterious boy. He couldn't help but do the small wave back. They quickly reached the boy. They realized that he was fairly short. He was 5 feet and Mrs. Jian was actually 5 feet 5 inches. There was a full foot distance between Mr. the Jian couple also. They couldn't help but wonder how that worked. Well, that was until Mrs. Jian ran up the jumped on her husband to give him a big hug and kiss on the cheek. So that is how it worked. Mrs. Jian was an extremely athletic woman. Even in her 60s, the couple met in college, surprisingly in a freshman year elective course. They soon became study buddies for the course and remained friends afterwards. About a year later, they started dating and haven't stopped since. They could see right away that they were just perfect for each other. When Mrs. Yan unlaces herself from his husband, she turned towards Thay. Hello, Taehyung. Thay is grateful that the woman didn't jump on Thay. Instead, she respectfully places her arm on the side of his arm and looks into his eyes. It is so good to finally meet you. I can't wait to introduce you to the whole family. My name is Mrs. Yan. You. Let's get you to Jungkook's apartment. He wouldn't came home until later. I'm sorry that he didn't turn up. He must be busy or being a little bitch. Mrs. Yan started to snicker. They couldn't believe this. Mothers laughed, laughing towards her own children. He smiled along to be polite. Let's get your luggage. As they walked to the baggage claim, Mrs. Yeon introduced herself to Mia, or Mrs. Lee as she liked to be called. Taehyung decided to walk quietly as the three older adults spoke. They was honestly tired from the flight and sudden change in time. He just wanted to eat dinner and then go to sleep. However, the Giants had other plans of taking him to a tour around the city, then introduce him to everyone, then a big family dinner with him will meet his future husband, only going to sleep to wake up to a wedding. Of course, the young boy was too polite to turn everything down. They picked up the luggage and all entered to the back of a fancy drawn car. The Jian's parents had a private driver who was really kind and introduced himself as born to the new new boy. Right when they stepped outside, he actually realized that he was in New York. The air was slightly colder, the city was louder, and the fashion was impeccable. People hustled going in and out of the airport when driving away into the city and stuck in traffic. The sidewalks crowded, apartment windows open to let in some city air, and the yellow cabs communicating through horns and sways. Seoul is similar but somewhat a smaller scale. It seems like Seoul people live and here in New York people live to work. They never had a true chance to live or work fully in his city. Maybe he will have better luck living to work in a big apple. Even though he was tired and yawning at every chance, he was smiling the whole time, soaking in the city. It really helped, but his mind at easy and forget about the whole meeting with his fiancée tonight. Bone took the whole crew through the street of one of their favorite places to eat and shop. About an hour later, the car is stopped in front of a fancy apartment building. Everyone get out the car and onto the sidewalk, blocking any passerby with heavy luggage bags. The apartment was luxurious and so beautiful. It has a large window that shows the city outside. He was in awe of the place. He grew up outside the city of Seoul and did not grow up in the noise of it at all. He loves looking out the windows already and watching the city. The penthouse was beautiful. After hours home tour, he was all tired. He was completely exhausted from the time change, flight, tour, and meeting new people. He fell asleep around 5:15. Jungkook walked onto the house a little after 6 and hears the general chores of his family brings. Everyone is separate around. His brothers and brothers-in-law are sitting on the couch talking. His father is talking with his sons, and his mother is talking with the mysterious old woman that was the couch. Only one mysterious woman, but Jungkook was about to marry a boy, didn't he? Did he misunderstood things? Is he going to marry this old woman? A part of Jungkook hoped that this woman actually never came here and his father left her and whatever she came from was what was this? How can his father marry him to someone like this lady? Jungkook refused to look at any picture of his father since his way. Mr. Jian sees his first son first. There he is, the man of the hour, the groom for tomorrow. Taekook had a feeling that his father has been drinking. He feels embarrassed from his father's outburst, and the older brother had a similar cringing look. No need to say that, Dad, Cook responded, going to his mother and the other lady. He kisses his mom on the cheek. And who is this lovely lady beside your mother? Limia, they like to call me Mrs. Lee, and I was the game's only maid and cook. I also cared for him since his father was already always busy in his work. Mr. Jian thought that it would be best that I would come along help the business work. You don't even have to pay me. I have a lot saved from working for so many years. I am ready for the retirement, Mr. Yan. Mrs. Lee reached her hand out to handshake Jungkook's hand. Jungkook sighed in relief. So this is not the bride to be. He reaches to the maid's hand. Jeon Jungkook, you can call me Jungkook. We will discuss this later after the unfortunate date coming up. Go, stop being a coward, brother. His brother Jung Jeon who shouts from the couch. He walked over to and hit Jungkook's arm, but the look Jungkook gave was supposed to shut his young but Hyuk starts laugh. The brother Minho and his husband Sung tried to hide a smile by drinking their wine. Where is the bride? Yoongi asked with a teasing tone. Why would I know Hyung? Jungkook says, I literally just got home and you saw me walking in the door alone. Where is your boyfriend, Yoongi? The oldest brother, June teased back Yoongi. I know where is my wife is. He is at home with my kids. Monster Young, who teased the brother with his best least favorite names. We were never dating. We were just having fun. I ended it because I felt weird sleeping with a client, Youngie said. Okay, enough of this teasing and all. Mrs. Jan said, let's leave Cook alone. Mrs. Jan addresses the room and let's welcome Kim Taehyung. Everyone looks to the left and sees asleep, redhead taking in everything. Hi, they waved awkwardly to everyone. A door opening woke Taehyung up from his nap. He stayed there for a little bit but decided to leave his room and join the Jian family. It was a polite thing to do. It seems like he was already only asleep for a little less than 45 minutes. Once they opened the door, he hears laughter and the tail end of a conversation between family. And let's welcome Kim Taehyung. This surprised them. Everyone suddenly had their eyes on the new redhead boy. All he could do was wave and say hi. Mrs. Jian and Mrs. Lee pop out from underneath the kitchen and with wine glasses in hand. Oh, hey darling, Mrs. Jian shouts up to the boy. Come down so you can meet all of my wonderful children, shaking the obbling down each step. Everyone remained staring at the poor boy. Mr. Jian went at the bottom of the stairs, take Taehyung's arm gently and guide him around the room. Okay, you are ready to meet the whole family. There is quite a lot of them. They is still speechless and just nod along. Over there, he points to a brown eyes and just Buzz cut hair is Namjoon, the oldest at 32. He is a cop with a wife, Seok-jin, and two kids, and then Yoongi, Hoseok, and Minho, and finally we came to the youngest son, Jungkook, age 27, and the man that took over the family business. While speaking, Mrs. Jeon gave over to the young man. Jungkook was very handsome in Taehyung's opinion. Well, everyone in this family was just look most like the oldest son, Jeon, of Jeon's, like Namjoon with his chestnut hair and brown eyes, like his father. The hair was very unique because Mr. Jian had blonde hair and Mrs. Jian had dark brown hair. The hair color stood out to Tae. Jungkook also had hooded eyes and hot puppy lips. He also had some piercing on one at his eyebrow and two at his lips. Hot, but he was nervous with the devil look on Jungkook's face. It's good to finally meet you, they said. In reality, his acting skill came in handy to hide the anxiety in his voice. He held out his hand, expecting a firm handshake like a majority of the family can't say the same. Taehyung, Jungkook rudely said back. There was somewhat expected behavior like this from JK. Why wouldn't he act like this way? He was marrying a boy he never met tomorrow. Oh my god, Mrs. Jian swore under the breath. Then she addresses the room. Okay, dinner is ready. Everyone find a seat at the table. When Jungkook stopped facing Taehyung closed his eyes and let out a breath, leaving with this man might be harder than expected. There was a light, a small talk among the groups at the table. Mrs. Xian, Minho, and Sang talked about work, while Yoongi, Namjoon, and Hobi were teaching each other here and there. They decided to stay quiet, holding a small smile and just listening to everyone speak as he never something like this at his home. He at that point was very happy. He has only known them for the most of 5 minutes, but he could see getting close to everyone that sat at the table, maybe even get close to Jungkook. Jungkook was also a mystery to Tae. He sat pretty far from the future bride and didn't even look at him. Instead, Jungkook just cut the chicken in a irate manner, but they just let it go. Tonight, after everyone leaves, they will have a chance to talk and clear the air. So they, Yoongi called them. Do you like it here? He asked. Yeah, it is nice, they only said, and continued to eat. You seems like an incredibly strong birthday. Hobby remarks. Your father just passed away the day of the funeral. You found out you were to be forced into marriage and moved to New York. That must have been one day, one long day. They felt a little uncomfortable at hearing all those details because he doesn't like to think of those bad memories. He was also uncomfortable at the compliment. Before they could say thank you, Jungkook scoffed. Oh yeah, really strong enough to tear my life apart. Mrs. Jan dropped her unstill at Jungkook's word. Jungkook, what did you say? This young boy has done nothing to you. He is in the same boat as you, forced to marry a rude hick like you. The family knew of their mother's rage. That is why they were such great children and become amazing adults, because their mother made them pee their pants every time. She was furious, but Jungkook, I don't know who is he, I don't care who is he, and I don't want to get to know him. He is just some old gold digger. which that wants some money from our family. He probably told his father to put that in. Enough. Mr. Jeon shouts, who was now furious at his dumb son. He couldn't believe that his son could say such awful things to a boy he was new met. Mr. Jeon felt sorry for Taehyung, who had tears stuck in his eyes. He could see that Taehyung would doing everything in his power to stop an anxiety attack from starting. Theseus closed his eyes and hung his head low, exhausted from the day, not exhausted from this stranger shouting at him just like his father. You are being a disrespectful freak, Jungkook, Mr. Jian cursed. I can't believe that you are attacking this young boy and calling him villain names. He has done nothing. His father left him barely anything, no money, not even the house. The only thing left in the will for him was marriage. Taehyung probably has it far worse than you at the moment. Taehyung is changing his whole life to protect a company that we get to absorb and profit for. Taehyung's heart swelled at the thought of Mr. Jian protecting him, for standing up for him when he couldn't. No one has ever done that. Mrs. Lee couldn't do anything. If she did, she would be promptly fired and would never had a chance to see Taehyung again and be his side. They felt like it was once free from his father's clutches, but now it seems he was found another man that is capable was emotionally hurting him. Jungkook had nothing to refuse his father, so he sounds like a child when he replied, whatever, but I'm not going to pretend to like this boy. As long as he stay out of my way, then the marriage will work perfectly. Jungkook's eyes land on the only boy with red eyes. Do you understand? They stare right onto Jungkook's as they said, crystal clear. Dinner and then dessert remained quiet and awkward. They all talked to Tae, getting to know him better, and he got to know everyone else better. Jungkook again just stayed hyper focused on his food and has his legs shaking. They helped with the dishes and bussed everyone goodbye one by one, and here are the about to be married couple. So Taehyung Jungkook said his name with so much hate. Let's sit down. Some rules. Tae looks around for someone to save him, but Mrs. Lee must have gone up to her room for the night. The two were in the hallway close to the door. They were too close. Jungkook's objective was to intimidate and the small and defenseless boy. Rule 1. Jungkook stepped closer to the boy. Taehyung was smart enough to angle his body so it was moving towards the living room. Stay out my way. Jungkook had a very basic routine, and if they learned it correctly, they would never have to see him again. Rule 2. He took another step towards Tae. It was supposed to be intimidating, but Taehyung's face was so natural Jungkook couldn't tell if it was working or not. No one but our family will know about this. This remains that we will not have rings. They wasn't sentimental over jewelry. They didn't even have his earpiece. Rules 3. Another step. We are allowed to have boyfriend or girlfriend because we are not a real couple. So that was the reason for the rule 2. They thought if the public knew that they were taken, they would have a hard time getting any other partner. They replied with his own rule. Rule 4. You can't bring them to our penthouse. Why? Are you and you are allowed to get anyone here. Are you jealous that you can't have me? Jungkook smiled, hoping to hurt his feelings. No, I'm not jealous and about bringing someone. I don't have interest to get someone in my life. Also, for 10 years, I have heard my father bring home his girls and stay up all night with them. I would love a decent night's sleep. Jungkook was a little shocked by the fact, but he ignored it. Whatever the princess wants. Jungkook carried on. Last rule, I will never give you any money. Find a job or all I care, but I will not finance shopping spare or coffee runs. I will only give you money for grocery. You got it? They looked away from Jungkook's eyes and nodded his head. He didn't want to get on his bad side even more. As he has been suffered a lot, he is strong now, but fear is stuck in his heart, and right now he has no job and money to survive. He can't live on the street. Also, he believes that if he doesn't follow these rules, Jungkook will hit him like his father. His father had rules in house too. Even if they followed them, his father would stay lie his and they would be in bed, bruised, still not looking at Jungkook's eyes. He says, "May I go to bed now?" Surprised by the sudden obedience, Jungkook approved and watched them walk up to the stairs and to his new room. A small part of Jungkook wanted to the said but to stop and comforted him, but he would never admit this disappointment. He is not even hot. Cook tried to convince himself. In reality, he was hot to him. Just because Jungkook found him hot does not mean he likes him, and that is true. Jungkook did not like Taehyung one bit. Really, he grabs an alcoholic drink from his kitchen and upstairs. At least he could be hangover for the wedding. To be continued. See you again with the next episode of this story. Next episode is going to be Taekook wedding. I hope you will love it. Okay. And what are your thoughts about this? If you have commented down. See you again. Bye bye. Bye.